Joining us right now from La Belle Provence in the city of Montreal, assistant coach of the Montreal Impact, Jason Di Tullio. Jason, welcome, my friend.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good, Jason. Better yet, how are you? It's a buzz in the air here in Toronto. Is the buzz in the air in Montreal, getting ready for this big matchup versus TFC?
Every time Montreal plays TFC, you know there's always a buzz, and I'm sure there's a buzz also in Toronto. We're excited. Everyone's excited, and it's a big game on a big stage, and we're all excited to be a part of it.
Jason, let's talk a little bit about that buzz in the two cities before we break down the game coming up. I've said this time and time again. You know, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver have been unbelievable partners in MLS since day one. They pack them in. They bring world-class stars in like you guys did there. Joey Saputo never, ever shy to dish out the money. One of the best owners in MLS, bringing in Drogba and Marco Di Vaio. Here in Toronto, Jovinko, Altidore, and Bradley. Vancouver with Morales and others. I think these three franchises are the model for all the other ones to come in. Give me your thoughts on, when you're playing Toronto, Vancouver, the buzz, the atmosphere before and after, how great it is.
Yeah, I think when you're in this business, in a perfect world, you want high quality soccer with a lot of emotions, and with those emotions, if you can be a part of, the winning column, well, those emotions are unbelievable. And to go to what you said about, the three cities, it's fortunate enough that there's owners that believed in the project. Listen to the people, and basically, gave them a treat and says, here, come and watch the game on a Wednesday night or on the weekend, and be a part of it, And I think that we've been, fortunate to have that in 2016.
And also fortunate, let's be honest, Jason, in the three cities we mentioned, the three Canadian cities, the fans are knowledgeable. They're not stupid. They understand MLS. They understand the product. They understand the team. They follow it closely. You know that in Montreal. We know that here in Toronto, in Vancouver. They follow it. It's not just something that, okay, well, another season is kicked off. Let me see who I need. No, it's 12 months a year, 7 days a week. There is many diehard supporters in all these cities.
Well, that's what makes it healthy. Is that people talk about it, people have opinions, and it's not always easy with the social media that's around and everyone having an opinion. But that's what makes it great. That's what makes when things do go well, those emotions are unbelievable. So you want to be a part of it. You want to share those emotions with the city, and like for us in Montreal, we've had 11, 12 sellouts. And even though the results haven't been there, we try to leave everything out on the field, and our fans are amazing, and they believe in what we're trying to do, and that's what keeps us going.
Absolutely. Let's get right to it. Your squad is a veteran squad, Jason. There's not much, I believe, that yourself and head coach Biello have to say to this group. I look at the lineup against Orlando. It's a veteran-laden lineup. Piatti, Bernier, Donadel, Bernadello, on and on. This is a veteran-laden lineup. They know what's at stake with TFC. They know that it's been a roller coaster season. What are you focusing on, yourself and all the crew, the coaching staff? What are some of the things you're trying to talk to them about or make them aware of before this game?
Well, I think we had those two last games where hard-fought wins, and when you're on a downfall, you need something positive, and nothing is healthier than having those wins. So you try to focus on why you came out with a result, and then right away, what can we do to be better? And we had that week off where we had some time off and spent some time with the family, and then back to work and get back into the whys. Why were we successful, and what are we going to do now versus a very good Toronto team. With all the the tactical part and the physical part and the technical part. At the end of the day, it's going to feel like a playoff environment. The emotions are going to be there. So in terms of motivation, in a week like this, the motivation's there. all the motivation's there. Now it's just, playing that tactical game and see, who could come out on top.
I got to be honest, Jason. I've been really surprised and enjoying watching Matteo Mancuso playing recently for your squad in the last number of games. I picked up and watched him specifically closely because I wasn't sure what he was bringing to the table once he was brought on board. I was afraid, I hate to say it, that he was going to be another Nocerino down in Orlando, which has been a major bust, but he is far from that. He is actually really being an important part of this team to make a lot of noise in the playoffs again. Talk about what he's added since he's come over from Italy.
Well, I think it's safe to say that we have in our scouting we knew what we were going to get, and so it's not a surprise. We had good conversations before he came in. He came in knowing that it was going to take some time to adapt. That the strikers core included Didier Drogba, but really he came in, trained hard. Very humble, quiet young guy, and really, just whatever was asked of him, he did. And we're very fortunate to have that option, and he's only going to get it even better.
And I remember when Marco Donatel first arrived in Montreal, I was concerned that he wasn't in the best of shape, and he needed to be, especially for MLS. And as he got his feet wet and as he picked up more and more games under his belt, watch out, Marco Donatel really turned out to be a valuable piece to this squad. And I believe here's another guy that is smart. Maybe he doesn't have the wheels as a 25-year-old, but has the brain of a savvy veteran. This guy could be a real important part as well come this game against TFC on the weekend.
Like you said, it's a moment for these players to come out and show what they got. If it's Mancuso, if it's Drogba, we're fortunate to have those options, and it gives us a different profile. But we're excited to have that tactical matchup and see how it turns out.
Jason, just before we let you go, we really appreciate your time, and it should be a cracker of a game against TFC. Both supporters groups are outstanding. They support both franchises since day one. But I want to get your thoughts on the Canadian player, Jason. I'm really a guy that will never stop, talking to people out there how important it is for the Canadian player to get playing time, the Canadian coach to get an opportunity, on and on. That's why I believe it's very important that Canada gets its own professional league. I've said this, Jason, time and time again. God bless Joey Saputo. The guy's done everything in all other aspects of the game in the city of Montreal to grow it. He's thrown millions of dollars in it. Vancouver, TFC have done their part. But to me, I don't feel it's the responsibility of Montreal, Toronto, or Vancouver to be embarrassed or the spotlight thrown on them to play Canadian kids. If they're good enough, fine. If they're not, too bad. This is why I believe, Jason, and I know you have a rich history and a fiber in the Canadian game. I believe it's important that Canadian kids get an opportunity because I believe they can go toe-to-toe with an American, with a Mexican, any day of the week if they're given that opportunity. Your thoughts?
Well said. But I think when you're in a pro environment, I think the first thing that comes in your mind is, how do I win the next one? And I think we do have a responsibility as a professional club in Canada, to have a say or to be involved or to be in those discussions on how we can help our country compete at the highest level. Now, of course, like I said before, it's hard because there's factors where I want to win, but I want to develop, or I want to give him time. But there's lots of questions that come out on a daily basis, and I think with the Canadian League, it's tough because when you're not in that environment and you're not there, it's tough to be behind the phone and say, well, this is what needs to happen. I'm sure there's discussions. I've played for my country in a Junior World Cup, and I know the people that are there, and they're trying to figure it out. But it's not easy. They're trying. It's not easy. But the day that everyone can sit down and have a clear idea what direction we want to get into and get there. With the Canadian pro clubs, I think we're not far, but we would have to really get that sit down and see how can we make Canada compete at that level.
So let me ask you this then, Jason, lastly, and then we'll let you go. I'm a parent of two boys. They've just finished both of them in the system. And I remember with my two sons going to many tournaments in the US of A all over. And up until the age of 16, we had no problem with any US team, any academy. We would win many a tournament, top flight tournament, on, and our players were in tip-top shape. After the age of 16, I noticed, Jason, I'd like your thoughts on what maybe you've noticed as well. I think there's a major dip-off. I believe that we're not in the proper shape we need to be at the ages of 16 and up. I believe once we get into the box, our imagination is completely blank, and we're lost. Your thoughts?
Well, I think the academies are going to fix that problem. I think that, I'll speak for the Montreal Impact Academy. It's a full-time staff that's looking and saying, okay, how do we get the best players in the province to train with us 6 days a week? All right, that's how we. The scouting is the first thing. Is how do we get the player with potential versus the player that has the skill now versus that athletic player that you'll take a risk on, for example. And it's those environments that if you can focus on, like you said, what happens at 16. What happens at 16? So it's putting them in the best environments to compete on a regular basis at the highest level. And for sure, before maybe the academies, I was there in 2011 when we started it, and it was 16 is where we started playing in the USSDA, playing versus the New York Red Bulls and New England Revolution, and flying down to Florida and playing LA Galaxy from the West and San Jose, and really feeling, say, okay, now we're on the right path, and then with the USL teams and the reserve team. So you see that we're trying to see how do we get those best players, but it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time, unfortunately.
Jason, we thank you so much, and we thank you, for representing Canada when you did, and I know that you have your heart in the right place for the Canadian player. But first and foremost, you said it best. You're a professional. You're paid for wins, and you're paid on your results, along with Biello and the whole Montreal Impact. We wish you nothing but success. Good luck against TFC, and again, we thank you so much for making time out of your busy schedule.
All right, thank you. Enjoy the game.